Hi there, it's Alex here, also known as Defaultsound, and today I have another update on the VIVE game I'm working on. So this week I've started to add a lot of the art back in from the prototype. You can see here right now I've actually added a UI element for the teleport, so now you know exactly where your teleport receptacle is in the world. This was really easy to do. Just have a 3D mesh with a UV circle, a circled UV, a UV circle with a simple alpha, and then in the material I have some sort of thing that spins. Here I'm showing off the new improvement I made to the grabbing mechanic of objects, and I had a huge problem this week with pickups. And this is a really interesting UE4 problem that it's taken me all week to solve. So last week I actually had the pickups working on a physics handles system. This works fine for anything that is a handle, for example on the drawers or the toy chest. But for pickups, there's a problem with rotations, where the physics handle always sets the rotation of your pickup to lock to the physics handle's local orientation. So if you went to pick up an object, it always snapped back to the physics handle's rotation. So you couldn't do fine adjustments to the rotation of your object you're picking up. And the only solution to that was to use the attach to function. But unfortunately, there's a problem with that when you stop simulating physics, and that is collision on any pickup just disappears. So I'm going to show you the solution I came up with in a second. But as you can see here, I managed to get the pickup to follow any point that you pick it up from, as well as continuously collide with any objects in the world. Now the reason we have to have collisions enabled is unfortunately it would bring up many problems with cheating in the game, as well as losing objects by clipping them through the world and losing them forever. So this system works really well by preventing any objects falling through, and yeah, I think it's a good compromise generally. Now the problem I had with this method is I'm actually, instead of stop simulating the physics on it, the pickup, I'm actually disabling the gravity of the pickup. So by disabling the gravity, we can assure that the physics is still being simulated. Now this brought up another problem. When you disable gravity, you obviously have to make the dampening quite high to prevent it from floating around. And then the problem is when you don't have any gravity, there's no velocity. So the workaround for this is on your VIVE controller, you want to make sure that it's simulating physics, but make sure it has all its collision presets to ignore. Then this way you can get the velocity at any point of the controller and then apply it back to that object that you're about to throw. Otherwise, if you don't apply the velocity, when you go to throw it, it will just plonk right back to the ground because velocity is not calculated when gravity is not enabled. So this is a really frustrating problem, but I finally solved it and it's working pretty well, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. And also just showing off some of the other art. We've started to put in some of the environment stuff. My friend Chris has been working on the shell of the environment, so the wallpaper and the various trims in the room. And we also have the cot in the game, as you can see here. And I'm quite happy with how that's come out, because you can actually pick up the side of the cot, lift it up, and there's a little hook that prevents it from falling out. So you have to lift it up a certain threshold, and then it rotates out. So that's a really cool thing in my opinion, because it's just crazy how much fidelity, and it feels really good to pick up and seems real. You can see here I'm now seeing how it looks to lay in the virtual bed. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this little update. Not much to show in the previous week, because this week's been mainly trying to solve that rotation issue of the pickups. So that's all I have for you today, and I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you next time with the next update.